Hard shot. The principal owner of the Reds anticipating Pete Rose's last at bat. This could be the big hit. But Carmelo Martinez makes the catch. And all of a sudden, there's frustration and disappointment. And for Pete's mom, Laverne, a tear in the eye. For Pete Rose, an 0 for 4 ball game. And that means tonight could be the night at Riverfront Stadium. The Cincinnati Reds are on the air. The fun, the action, the excitement of Major League Baseball with the Cincinnati Reds. Brought to you by Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. By Toyota's exciting cars and trucks for 1985. Toyota invites you to see them in your Toyota dealer. Oh, what a feeling. And by Long John Silver's Seafood Shops, now featuring new Ocean Chef Salad. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Riverfront Stadium, where tonight a capacity crowd is expecting Pete Rose to pick up hit number 4,192. Along with Joe Morgan, I'm Ken Wilson, and we're glad to welcome you. A little different atmosphere tonight, Joe.
Well, I think there's a little less tension in the air than there was last night. I think the excitement will still be here because it's an exciting event. But it's like the third game of World Series. It's still fun, but it's not quite as exciting as the first game.
A lack of electricity compared to last night. And, of course, Peter Ueberroth, the commissioner of baseball, is apparently not going to be here. And we understand Chubb Feeney, the president of the National League, also will not be in attendance. Now, Pete, we talked about him being a little bit nervous last night. He's got to have changed things for tonight.
Well, I think he'll be a lot more relaxed tonight because last night everything had built up to that particular event, and it didn't work. So now he's got to start all over again. And I think he'll relax tonight. He won't swing as many bad pitches, especially the one up and in. And I think he'll get a good pitch tonight and get the base hit we're all looking for.
And the man that will face Pete Rose in this one on the mound for San Diego is Eric Shaw, and Pete has faced him quite a few times.
Well, I think Eric Shaw does not have the pitches necessarily to get Pete out 4 times. I would think like Lamar Hart is a very smart pitcher. He moves the ball in and out, changes speed. Eric Shaw will go with basically one pitch that he feels is his best pitch, whether that be the slider all night or the fork ball or changeup he throws. He has a sinking fastball, which works to Pete's advantage because the ball moves away from him. Pete can slap the ball to left field. Lamar Hart was running the ball in on him, which caused him a lot of problems.
So Pete goes 0 for 4 last night. Tonight he faces Eric Shaw, and Tom Browning will be on the mound for the Reds. It's a big night in baseball history. We're here set to go, and we're glad you're with us at Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. Executive producer of Reds Baseball is Lou Rainoni. Director Roy Althers. Network coordinator Tom Mills. This is a multimedia sports production on the Cincinnati Reds Television Network. A big crowd, capacity again tonight at Riverfront Stadium. Some heavy traffic outside, and as they did last night, the Reds management is going to delay the start of this ball game a little bit, so we're probably 10 or 15 minutes away from getting underway. One of the aspects of this ball game is the fact that everyone's been talking not only about Pete, but of course about Ty Cobb, and it's amazing, Joe Morgan, how many similarities there are between the two.
Well, both obviously were great hitters, great batsmen, we should say. Ty Cobb, I think, has an edge in the overall lifetime batting average. He had a lifetime batting average of .367, which will probably stand forever. Just like I think when Pete gets 41.93, I think that'll stand forever.
Also, when you look at these two, the irony that around the league, fans never really fell in love with Ty Cobb, and, well, maybe a little lately, but over the years, they've never been big fans of Pete's.
One of the things that disappointed me the most when I first came to Cincinnati and played with Pete Rose was when we'd go around the league and places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, they would boo Pete. I'm saying to myself, how can you boo a guy who plays as hard as he does, puts as much as he does into the game? How can you as a fan boo him? But they were really booing him because he did so much to help beat their home team, and I think that's the way that Pete accepted it. But I think their similarities are differ in that Pete was really a nice guy. Ty Cobb has a bad image. I mean, the players on his own team did not like him, supposedly. I'm only going by hearsay. But the guys on Pete Rose's teams love him. I played with him, and I was one of those guys.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that you didn't play with Ty Cobb. You made that clear. Ty Cobb, of course, the Georgia Peach, passed away in 1961. And one of the ironies of tonight, September the 11th, 1985, Joe Morgan, is the fact that it was 57 years ago today, September the 11th, 1928, that Ty Cobb played his final major league game. Kind of a little interesting twist.
Well, I think it's interesting because he hit 323 and he thought he was finished. Yeah. He said, I can't play anymore. And he hit 323. A lot of people obviously would be very happy to hit 323 anytime in their career. And he felt like he was going downhill, so he had to retire.
Well, a fella who really isn't close to retiring at all and has been a super teammate of Pete Rose's over the years and a wonderful batsman this year for the Reds, Tony Perez, is with Steve Physiak.
He has indeed had a marvelous year, Tony Perez. But this is a big night for Pete Rose, 4,192. That's the hit he's looking for, but it's a special day for a friend of yours, too.
Yeah, it's my son Eduardo. He's 16 today, Steve, and I want to wish him a happy birthday. And Pete Rose want to break the record on his birthday. And I just wish him a happy birthday. Feliz cumpleaños, Eduardo.
So he's back home in San Juan watching it.
Yeah, he's watching in San Juan, and they've been watching the game for the last 3 days over there, and they wish they can see that tie hit breaker today.
The whole Perez family is such a Pete Rose friends and fans. Why?
Well, because we play here so long together with Pete, my sons and Petey. They grow up together. They play baseball when they were a kid. You know, we played T-ball in here when they was a kid, and really we are very close, and that's why we feel for Pete and his family as much as we do for he do for my family too.
Was it just a dress rehearsal then last night?
Yeah, I guess he was a little anxious out there, but I think that he was saving the heat for Eduardo's birthday.
Is that right? You think so?
Well, my wife Pituca predict that down in spring training. He told Eduardo and Pete that he's gonna get the hit on Eduardo's birthday, and so far we got a good chance.
It seems like good luck and fortune has followed Tony Perez around a long time, and this would be another special occasion.
Yeah, it's another special occasion in my career, and I think we're gonna enjoy the game today, and we're gonna see Pete break the record.
What does it mean to you? You have been a friend of Pete Rose's for a long time. You go way back to the minor leagues. Was it special there last night with the flashes all around Riverfront Stadium? And I'm sure a little goosebumps had to be on Tony Perez's back as well.
Yeah, it's a special. I think last night I was ready, you know, to go out there and check his hand or give it a big hook or whatever. But I have to wait another day. But I'm glad he didn't do it last night, and he's going to do it tonight on Eduardo's special day.
Everybody's predicted. Uberoth predicted number 2 last night. Petey Jr. predicted number 3. Any prediction from Tony Perez?
Well, I think it's going to be today on the second time I bet.
Super. Tony, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Tony Perez, the first baseman for the Cincinnati Reds. Let's now go back up to Ken Wilson and Joe Morgan.
There will be a base occupied very soon, most likely tonight by Pete Rose. First, second, third, even with the wind blowing to right, he may circle them all, though that hasn't happened very often. When Pete gets to, let's say, first base with a single, and I think he'd like to have a single for the big hit, what's going to go through his mind? You've known him for so long.
Well, I would think he would be remembering all the people that helped him get to the position that he's in. First of all, family, father, things like that, and then the people who have helped him along the way. I know I sit next to the guy for so many years in the locker room, and right now I know what's going through his mind. He's playing over and over in his mind right now how Eric Shaw will pitch him, how he pitched him last time. If he was successful, he knows that he'll change. If he was not successful, he figures he'll do something different again. But I feel like he's thinking right now he's going to throw a sinker away, slider in, and the forkball. So I think these are the things that are going through his mind now, and he's trying to decide which pitch he's going to hit for the base hit.
When Pete gets to the base and the moment has occurred, he says he wants it to be very short, no ceremony. He wants the game to continue. Do you think with this big throng, standing room only, that he's going to be able to allow that?
Well, I think it'll happen because that's what Pete wants, and he'll continue to do or run the bases like he feels like it's over. He'll get the hit, he'll stand there, he'll accept all the applause, he'll wave his hat, he'll do all the things he's supposed to do, and then he'll try to get the game started. And I think that is because he wants the momentum of the game to keep going, because he wants his team to try to continue to play well.
The Reds, of course, battling to finish second and really hoping that the Dodgers have a big slump and that the Reds might yet win the National League Western Division. Well, a fella who led a lot of Dodger teams to division and National League titles and certainly was instrumental in the Padres' victory in the National League last year is standing by with Steve Physiak. That, of course, is Steve Garvey.
Well, Ken Wilson, we were talking with Pete Rose before the ball game about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and I asked him who are some of the active players that he really cares about in this game of baseball, and he mentioned one name right off the bat, Steve Garvey of the San Diego Padres. He mentioned the tough days between the two of you when you were at the Dodgers, and it was that great series, and I know you admire Pete Rose the same.
It always has been and always will be a great challenge for Pete and I to play to each other. It's a mutual admiration, both as players and as individuals. I'm really happy for what he's about to achieve, and to have the opportunity to play against him all these years. It's been an honor for me.
Well, you saw another great occasion. You saw Hank Aaron break Babe Ruth's record. What was it like at that time?
Well, that was a monumental achievement also. A longevity mark concerning home runs. Pete's the same way concerning hits. Two quality gentlemen who have really helped set the competitive standards for the game, and I applaud both of them, and just fortunate to be able to be part of both.
Steve, it's like a World Series atmosphere, the flashes last night throughout Riverfront Stadium when he steps to the plate. You're on the other side. Do chills go up and down your spine?
Oh, yeah. I've never seen so many flash bulbs go off in flashes. It was really a light show here, and as the game wore on, there were less pictures, but the same excitement. It'll be that way tonight. We hope Pete gets a hit, gets stranded, and we win the game. So, again, we hope for the best for him.
Now, would you like to see it happen while you're here?
Oh, definitely so. Again, it would be the ultimate double to have seen Hank Aaron's and to see Pete Rose's accomplishments.
About the Pete Rose situation, he comes out and the media is just mobbing him. Have you had a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, at first base last night. I told him to keep breathing. That's the key in these situations. You know, a lot of times everybody's expecting you to do well. You want to do well. There's a lot of anxiety. But Pete communicates as well as anybody. He really, both on and off the field, typifies what the game is all about.
How do you handle a pressure situation like that? He said, I was not nervous. I was over anxious. How do you? You've been in that situation before.
You have to stay within yourself, and Pete has done that so many times. But when you have 50,000 people and millions of others pulling for you, you want to do it because you more or less want to get it done, let people go back to their normal lives, but enjoy it, the memory. And last night he was a little anxious. I'm quite sure he'll be within himself tonight.
And in that way, it's unlike the World Series. In the World Series, the focus is on the team. Last night and tonight, it's on one man.
Well, it is, and rightly so. This is a rare instance where the game comes secondary. But it should be in a lot of ways, but I think, again, the perspective is it's a team sport. His contributions to his team's success have been as monumental as anyone, so he deserves all the attention.
Well, Steve, for the last 2 weeks, just the media, the national media, has been following him around, and you've been in that atmosphere before. How do you not say no, I guess, to the press, because they're on you every single minute of the day?
Well, Pete couldn't, and neither could I, because he realizes the benefit of what he's doing now to counteract some of the negative press now with the trial in Pittsburgh, some of the thoughts about other problems throughout this year, the strike and drugs. So what he's doing is perfectly balancing out the other problems with what I think is the ultimate positive event, and that's setting the hit record.
And without a doubt, Steve Garvey is excited for Mr. Rose.
Definitely.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks a lot.
Steve Garvey, the first baseman for the San Diego Padres, and he too, along with 51,000 plus here at Riverfront, hoping to see that historic hit tonight at Riverfront Stadium. Let's go back to Ken Wilson and Joe Morgan.
Pete Rose is ready. The ball game start being delayed a few minutes because of the heavy traffic outside and the fact that Pete was scheduled to hit second, of course, in the first inning. They would not want anyone to be stuck outside in a long line waiting to get in and miss the big hit, which of course could come in inning one against Eric Schau. Steve Garvey had some very interesting points, Joe, and I know you've talked to players in both leagues, and you have some feeling for how the other players around baseball feel about Pete.
You know, it's kind of strange when Pete first came into the major leagues and he ran the first base on a walk. People called him a hot dog. The other players called him a hot dog. They said, you know, there's not enough mustard in the world to cover that hot dog. Things like that. But as Pete showed that this was just the way he played the game and it wasn't a put on, it was not an act, over the years now, those guys that see him run the first base all want to emulate him. So now I think that has gone from somebody that just didn't understand him to people that really respect and love him. And a lot of players around the league say things like, if I had one ambition, I'd like to grow up and play the ball game like Pete Rose does. And I think that's the important thing now.
And how true it is, how many major leaguers we talk about on teams in both leagues now, and There's always a note about them. They idolize Pete Rose, especially the switch hitters, especially the second baseman. Right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people forget that Pete came up as a second baseman, and he was kind of my idol. At first year, I was in Houston, and Pete had been Rookie of the Year, and I'm trying to follow in his footsteps, so to speak. And he was Rookie of the Year, and I just wanted to pattern myself after him as a second baseman. I never ran the first base on walks. I figured if they give me a walk, I'm going to take it. But that is the way that Pete Rose has always played the game. He's always hustled. He's always given 110%, if you can use that phrase. And I think that that's the important thing. Like I say, the statistics to me don't really mean anything. It's just the way that he plays the game and the emphasis he puts on winning and the dedication that he brings to the ballpark every day.
One of the things I find interesting about Pete Rose, of course, you hear so much about his dad, who passed away, Pete Sr. in 1970, and the large influence he was. But when you ask Pete about his idol on the field, he says the player he most idolized as a youngster was Johnny Temple. And, of course, he was the Reds' second baseman at Crosley Field when Pete was growing up.
Right. I think that's very interesting that Johnny Temple was his idol. Johnny Temple was a hard-nosed player, too. He was not in the mold of a Pete Rose, but he played the game similarly. I mean, he did whatever it took to win. He bunted, hit the ball behind the runner. He did a lot of things that Pete does, only he was not as quite talented as much as Pete, but he played the game similar to Pete Rose.
Now the crowd has arrived. The lineups have been exchanged at home plate. The Reds players, including Pete Rose, have taken the field. And in Cincinnati, we are set for the national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets victory, the bombs bursting that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The scene is set. The Padres, the Reds, battling it out for second place in the West, hoping against hope to catch the division-leading Dodgers, and Pete Rose tied with Tyrus Raymond Cobb on the all-time hit list in the top spot. Defensively for the Reds, Nick Isaski in left, Eddie Milner in center, Dave Parker is in right field. The third baseman is Buddy Bell. Dave Concepcion anchors at short. Ron Oster is the second baseman. Pete Rose is at first base. The catcher tonight is Bo Diaz, and Tom Browning, a rookie left-hander, is on the mound. Browning will face Padre shortstop Gary Templeton. Jerry Royster hits second. He is the second baseman. Then right fielder Tony Gwynn. Steve Garvey hitting cleanup for San Diego at first base. In left field, batting fifth, Carmelo Martinez. Then Kevin McReynolds, San Diego's center fielder. Bruce Bochy does the catching again tonight. He hits seventh. At third base, Kurt Bavacqua. And Eric Shaw, the right-handed starter, batting ninth for San Diego.
And on the mound tonight for the Reds is Tom Browning. He's the winningest rookie pitcher in the major leagues. He's 15-9 with a 3.43 earned run average. He's also 1-1 against the Padres this year.
Tom Browning came up last September, made his major league debut, a very successful one at Dodger Stadium. He has been on almost the miraculous end of the spectrum here in 1985. Tom Browning, a youngster with a lot of poise on a big night here in Cincinnati. The crowd last night, standing room only over 51,000, and a similar crowd here to watch this game tonight. The weather is a lot cooler. A brisk breeze. It was just in the 70s today in Cincinnati after being in the high 80s and low 90s the last few days. So it is on the cool and breezy side. A brisk breeze blowing from the left field corner out towards the right field corner.
I think Tom Browning will handle the pressure of this ball game very well.
And the first pitch to Templeton is a strike. Templeton at 277, 6 homers, 48 RBIs, a switch hitter. And he fouls it back 0-2.
And a contrast from Ron Robinson last night, who kept everything away from the hitters. I think you'll see Tom Browning moving the ball in and out. He'll pitch predominantly away, but he'll move the ball in and out.
Still 0-2. Jerry Royster on deck, just underway. Templeton with that very easy swing. Doesn't look like he puts much effort into his swing. He's had an outstanding season. He's out of there. Browning strikes out the first hitter of the night.
That's any indication of whether he's going to be nervous or not tonight. He answered that very quickly because he got ahead 0-2 and threw 4 strikes.
You could see the indication to Jerry Royster coming to the plate from Gary Templeton up. Watch out for the fastball up. Last night, Tim Flannery played second base. Jerry Royster getting the nod tonight and hitting .275. 3 homers, 22 RBIs. 1 strike.
So far, Tom Browning seems to be throwing a little harder than the last outing. He may be hyped up a little more than Pete.
He just misses. 1-1. The plate umpire tonight is Lee Wire. At first base, Ed Montague, Fred Brocklander at second, Dutch runner at third. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One out, nobody on, and Royster spoiling the good ones. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Royster has been hitting exceptionally well lately for San Diego, trying to get on in the first inning. And Browning, as Joe points out, throwing hard, and Templeton and Royster both having trouble getting around on the fastball. Speed pitch, and Bell is going to have to hurry. He gets it. 2 down.
But he gets the ball and gets rid of it quickly because Jerry Royster is very fast from the right-hand side of the plate.
Tony Gwynn. 307 is his average. He's among the top hitters in the league. Ball 1. He is tied for 6th in the National League with the Reds. Ron Oster. 2-0. Of course, Willie McGee of the Cardinals leads the league. Then Pedro Guerrero, Tommy Herr, Tim Raines, and Ryne Sandberg. 2-1.
I think the amazing thing to me about Tony Gwynn is for him to be able to hit .350 last year on regular turf.
Ron Oster to Pete Rose, and the Padres are gone. It'll be Milner, Rose, and Parker. Bottom of the first inning. Padres nothing. Reds coming up. Here's Here's the defense for San Diego. The outfield, Carmelo Martinez, Kevin McReynolds, and Tony Gwynn. The infield from third to first, Kurt Bevacqua, Gary Templeton, Jerry Royster, and Steve Garvey. Bruce Bochy, the catcher again tonight. Terry Kennedy on the shelf with a bad back, and Eric Shaw on the mound. The Padre right-hander will face Eddie Milner, Pete Rose, Dave Parker, Nicky Saski, Buddy Bell, Dave Concepcion, Bo Diaz, Ron Oster, and Tom Browning.
Starting for the Padres tonight, Eric Shaw has a record of 9-9. Earned run average of 3.24. He's 1-0 against the Reds this season. He defeated the Reds in San Diego earlier in the year.
Will try to get something going for the Reds here in the first. He has had an extraordinary second half, and those are the numbers on the season. Shaw is ready, and the first pitch hit down the line, and it'll go in the crowd. Foul ball, 1 strike.
We'll be able to find out very quickly which pitch Eric Shaw thinks is his best pitch tonight. We'll be able to tell by the way which one he throws the most in the beginning of the ball game. When he starts warming up in the bullpen, he finds out right away which pitch he's going to go with early.
1 ball, 1 strike. On deck, first inning, Pete Rose. There's a victim awaiting, and it could be the 29-year-old right-hander Eric Shaw from Riverside, California. One strike.
I think that's his palm ball. At least that's what we'll call it tonight.
Breaking pitch, and it's 2-2. Eric Shaw is a clubhouse flake in many ways. Shaw, a physics major at the University of California, Riverside, probably one of the most intelligent players in the game today. Bevacqua charging. And there's one out, and that means Pete Rose. The general manager of the Reds, Marge Schott, the majority owner. A standing room only crowd in Cincinnati on its feet. First inning, Pete Rose against Eric Shaw. Ball 1.
It'll be interesting to see if Eric Shaw tries to pitch Pete the way Lamar Hoyt did last night, and that would be fastballs in and change-ups away.
Rose looking for hit 4-1, 9-2. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike, and he really had a confident rip.
And that was a fastball in tight, which I think is the way that they'll try to pitch him since they were successful with it last night. And that is really the only spot in Pete's batting stance that he's vulnerable in.
If you have a lump in your throat, you're only human. And it's 2 balls, 1 strike on Rose. Everybody on their feet here in Cincinnati, and a worldwide television audience watching these moments tonight here at Riverfront Stadium. 2-1 pitch from Shaw into left center. There it is. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192. achievement. And for baseball, a game that grows from its past and finds warmth in statistics, this is one of the all-time great moments.
The only thing I'm disappointed in, Ken, is I can't be down there to shake his hand right now.
Well, there is love aplenty here in Cincinnati. And Eric Show becomes a spectator as this city loves their native son. And I think, Joe Morgan, you would agree that from somewhere above tonight, Pete's dad has to be looking down with a big smile on Cincinnati Riverfront Stadium and his little son Petey. It has to be a very approving smile from Pete Sr. The moment we've all waited for, hit number 4,192, that makes Pete Rose the all-time Major League Baseball hit leader. It comes at 8:01 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, September the 11th, 1985, off the Padres' Eric Show.
And for all the people around that are watching, and have your toast ready, let's all drink a toast to Pete Rose, the most prolific base hitter in all of baseball history. Pete, this bud's for you.
All right. Well, they love it. And this bud's for Pete Rose and baseball, because this, Joe Morgan, is what it's truly all about.
Yeah, Pete Rose is baseball, and I think this is a great, thrilling moment for me, a guy that played with him for about 9 years and enjoyed every moment of it. The real thing he's doing there is finally giving a sigh of relief, because no matter what you say, it would have to be building on him, because so many people are pulling for him and wanting him to get this base hit that he just wants to get it out of the way.
I think it's easy to imagine what goes through a mind at this moment. Boy, this is his game, it's his town, and it is his moment. Tommy Helms, his roommate, when both played here together in Cincinnati.
And they started off together in the minor league, so Tommy has the same type of feeling for Pete that his family does.
Son Petey Jr. His mom, Laverne. This is how it happened minutes ago.
It's a slider inside, and Pete hits a ball like he's done probably 4,000 times, the line drive over shortstop. And right there, he knows it's a base hit. He knows that's it. And he rounds the bag the way he always does. All out.
Pete Rose said that in his dreams, he imagined a line drive over second base. And we'll let a matter of feet go by the boards because he got the hit he wanted. It came on a 2-1 pitch from Eric Show. And I guess appropriately, Pete Rose is the very first runner in this ball game that will long be forgotten. No matter if the Padres or if the Reds win, it's Pete Rose's night. He truly is number one. So, 7 minutes after the greatest hit of all time, Dave Parker steps in, and Eric Shaw is ready to go to work. And at this moment, Pete Rose at first is just another base runner. 1 ball on Parker. There is no score, bottom of the first inning. Look at Parker. Shrug those shoulders. Let's get back to life again. Wow, is that something? Maybe, Joe Morgan, we ought to just stop the game, play 2 tomorrow, and let's have the celebration and the big ceremony that's scheduled for after this one.
Well, obviously there's going to be a big letdown in the crowd, and it's tough for Eric Shaw to pick back up and remember that this is a baseball game that he's involved in and try to win the ball game for the Padres. I think the Reds aren't going to have any problems trying to win the ball game, but I think it's a letdown for the pitcher that gives up that hit finally.
3-0. So Eric Shaw joins Tracy Stallard, who gave up Roger Maris's 61st home run, and Al Downing, the left-hander with the Dodgers, who allowed Hank Aaron's 715th home run. Eric Shaw, man of trivia games now. A walk to Parker, and there are 2 on with nobody out.
Bruce Bochy goes out to talk to Eric Shaw because he knows he's lost his composure. And it's just hard to get your concentration back after something like that happens.
Hard shot, just about jumped out of her corsage when Pete got the hit. Safe at first is Nicky Saski. Rose goes to third. Parker is erased on the force out. And runners on the corners with 2 away. No score, bottom of the first.
That was a very poorly turned double play there. Templeton couldn't get the ball out of his glove quick enough to give it to Royster. Because this should be a double play. It's a ground ball right at the shortstop, but watch, he takes too long to get the ball to Jerry Royster, which lets Dave Parker get on top of him and forces him to take a little bit off the throw.
What's for dessert? What do we do now? Rose has his hit. He's at third. Esaski at first, and Buddy Bell up at the plate. And he drives it, but not deep enough. And Martinez is there. The Reds in the first inning. No runs. They lead 2. No San Diego errors. And Pete Rose's 4,192nd hit after an inning at Riverfront. There's no score. Pete Rose has his hit. It has occurred. Number 4,192. Baseball's all-time hit leader. And Steve Garvey, headed for the Hall of Fame, also looks at a strike from Tom Browning leading off the second inning. Garvey hitting .275, 17 homers, 68 RBIs. And he's in the hole 0-2. Two strikes after Garvey, Carmelo Martinez, and then Kevin McReynolds. Two and two. Dave Concepcion throws out Steve Garvey 1-1. Carmelo Martinez, 1 strike. Former Cub farmhand. Martinez hitting .243, 17 homers, 59 RBIs.
I was talking to Deacon Jones today about Carmelo Martinez, and he kind of likens him to a young, raw Tony Perez, meaning that eventually he feels this guy's going to be a nice RBI man for the San Diego Padres. Not necessarily a 300 hitter like Tony, but he's going to be a big RBI man. His job will be to drive in runs, and he'll be able to produce those runs for the ball club.
Martinez behind in the count, 1-2. Martinez goes down swinging. 25-year-old Tom Browning has his 2nd strikeout. And I would imagine for Browning, who is out after his 16th victory of the year, he's relieved that it's more of a ball game now. Gives him a better shot at another victory and a victory for the Reds. Ball 1 on Kevin McReynolds. The count, and Bruce Bochy is on deck for the Padres. Defense is straight away on McReynolds. 3-0. McReynolds gets the green light, and it's 3-1.
As a manager, the worst thing you want to see, last thing you want to see, is your big slugging center fielder swing weakly at 3-0 and 3-1 pitches. You want him to at least have a great cut at the ball.
Buddy Bell has to back up, which spells trouble, and McReynolds is safe at first base. And again, it's over and over and over. When an infielder has to back up, you know it's trouble. You rarely are able to get the runner. That's a base hit.
That is not a base hit, but it scored a base hit. That is not a base hit in the major leagues.
It's a base hit
on the scorer's card
tonight in Cincinnati with the Reds playing the Padres. According
and not only that, it's the first hit of the ball game for the Padres.
And your point is you'd like to see a better hit for the first one.
The rule book says that the first hit should be a clean hit. The rule book says that. Didn't know that, did you?
Bruce Bochy is the hitter. He's the Padre catcher. To differentiate, of course, from one that scuffed a little bit like that.
Right. Exactly. Because what happens if Tom Browning doesn't give up another hit the rest of the ball game?
Then the scorer does what they often do. He goes back after the game and says, "Oh, that wasn't a hit."
No, you can't do that.
1-2. Pardon me?
Can't do that on a no-hitter.
Well, he can't give him a hit on that either.
Well, I guarantee you they wouldn't change it.
Nice change. 3rd strikeout for Tom Browning. No runs, 1 hit. San Diego leaves their first runner. Pete Rose has already gotten his hit. What a moment. There's no score. No score here in Cincinnati at Riverfront Stadium. Pete Rose in the first inning on a 2-1 pitch from Eric Shaw. Single to left center. The hit, the greatest hit of all time, number 4,192. He has more hits than anyone in baseball history. There will be a ceremony after the game on the field, a lot of festivities, and we will have a special post-game show for you on the Cincinnati Reds Network. The greatest hit of all time, the celebration of Pete Rose becoming baseball's all-time hit leader, coming up right after tonight's telecast. There's the man who, for many years, will be asking that fateful question when baseball trivia buffs get together. Which pitcher from what team gave up Pete Rose's 4,192nd hit?
Well, the one thing I think Pete is happy about is that he did not get it against a rookie pitcher or an unknown, one of the guys that's been added to the roster after the roster swelled up to 40 players. I think he's happy that it was against a guy such as Eric Shaw, who has 13 victories this year and was one of the top pitchers in the National League last year. So I think he's pleased with that.
Concepcion to start it off in the second inning for the Reds. 1 strike. 253, 7 homers, 38 RBIs. Out of play, 2 strikes. Another sidelight to all of this is the umpire behind the plate. They'll always want to know about Eric Shaw, of course, and then they'll have another trivia question: who was the umpire? And Lee Wire has said for a couple of days, he says, I told Pete when he was with the Phillies that I would be the man calling balls and strikes the night he got the hit to break Ty Cobb's record. And Big Lee Wire definitely was the man on the spot. Hey, there's a hit for Dave Concepcion. Oh, Davey, whose 9th inning single won the game Monday night 2-1 for the Reds, leads off the second with a single.
The important thing now is for the Reds to make sure that they win the ball game. Not that it's that easy, but I think all their concentration should go toward winning this ball game for Pete. This game should be dedicated for Pete, because it's not going to be as much fun in the press conference afterwards or any celebration if the Reds lose the ball game.
The batter is Bo Diaz. He takes a ball. Bo hitting 185 with 5 homers, 11 RBIs since coming over from the Phillies. A very fine defensive catcher who does have some pop in his bat. Two and 0. You can tell them that you were here via television at Riverfront Stadium for the big hit. Martinez gets a very good jump and makes the play routinely. Concepcion to first again, and there's 1 out now. If you're really into the numbers, you're going to want to know it happened at 8:01 p.m. in the first inning. As we mentioned, on a 2-1 pitch, a single to left center field. Ron Oster having a tremendous year average wise. Ball 1. No score, bottom of the second inning at Riverfront. Just a steady buzz from the standing room only crowd. A strike on Oster. Shaw has not been going that well lately. Well, and for that matter, nor have the Padres. Shaw in his last 3 starts is winless, and he has been tagged with a couple of losses. So trying to right the ship and move above 500 here tonight. He's 9-9.
He's actually had the same type of season this year as he had last year. He got off to a good start, and he faltered the second half. As a lot of people might remember, he didn't pitch very well in the playoffs, nor in the World Series last year. And down the stretch, he struggled an awful lot.
Davey goes. Martinez goes after it, and he is there. And Concepcion, who reached second base, scampers back to first base. 2 outs. Boy, the attendance here in Cincinnati this year has been marvelous. This crowd tonight, if it equals last night, Tom Browning stepping in, will move the club over 1.6 million in home attendance. 1 strike on Tom. Oh, it has been a tremendous year for baseball here in Cincinnati in many ways. Two strikes. These two teams play here again tomorrow night. Jay Tibbs and Andy Hawkins. It's going to be funny without any cameras around tomorrow.
They'll still be here.
Bavacqua has the room, and that retires the side. Reds get a hit. They leave their third runner. 2 innings have gone by. There's no score. Set to go. It's the third, and Kurt Bavacqua leading off for San Diego. Kurt's hitting .247 this year. A couple of home runs and 18 RBIs. 1-1. A reminder to stay with us after the game telecast for the greatest hit of all time, which will cover the celebration of Pete Rose becoming baseball's all-time hit leader tonight. 1-2 on Kurt Bavacqua. Joe Morgan is going to be instrumental in the ceremony, talking with Pete. We look forward to that. We'll be on the field. We'll have all of the post-game coverage for you right here on the Reds TV network. Diaz and Bell are there. Can Diaz get it? No. He almost got the cameraman. Well, your local Cincinnati Toyota dealers, Toyota of Cincinnati, Tri-County Toyota, Beachmont Toyota, and Howard Adams Toyota are proud to announce the winner of the 1985 Toyota Conversion Van Giveaway Sweepstakes. A big contest leading up to Pete's hit. 2-2. And the winner for predicting both the correct game and inning of Pete's record-breaking hit is Shirley Gloria of Cincinnati. Congratulations to Shirley Gloria of Cincinnati. You'll hear from your Toyota dealer shortly. Oh, what a hit, and oh, what a feeling, Toyota. Congratulations, Shirley. She said that Pete Rose's hit would break the record in this game in the first inning. The count on Bavacqua is 3-2. Browning has given up a 2-out second inning infield single to Kevin McReynolds, and he has struck out 3. There's a light up there behind home plate. You can see it shining, and they must get that off before any play can continue. The media is everywhere tonight here at Riverfront Stadium,
And they forget that there is a ball game going on.
And by the way, they're still playing. Bavacqua's pop-up awaited by Concepcion. That's the first out, third inning. It happened at 8:01 in the first inning. This is what it looked like after Rose's single that was 4,192. Shaw fouls the pitch out of play, 1 strike. Two strikes. Shaw is a hitter 100. That is 6 for 60. And he has an RBI. He's out of there. strikeouts for Browning, who is pitching very effectively.
Watching the commotion at first base there with Tony Perez holding Pete, I was wondering if there was any of his teammates that had seen all of the great hits he's made, like 2,000, 3,000, and 4,000 in this one. I saw the 2,000 and then I saw the 3,000, but I don't think Tony nor myself saw the 4,000, so we probably seen them all but that one.
Gary Templeton struck out in the first inning. 1 strike the count. Milner in center field. Padres go in order. On to the bottom of the third. Padres and Reds, no score. Ken Wilson, Joe Morgan in Cincinnati. Pete Rose will come up again in the third inning, but he already has the hit. It'll be Milner, Rose, and Parker against Eric Shaw. The first hit that Rose had as a big leaguer was in April 1963, right here in Cincinnati at Crosley Field, off the Pittsburgh Pirates right-hander Bob Friend. It was a triple. 1 strike on Milner. He fouled out in the first inning. The change or palm ball, 1-1. Joe, you go way back. Hit number 1,000 for Pete was also at Crosley Field in 1968. 2-1, and that came off the New York Mets' Dick Selma. Hit 2,000 did not occur here. Good pitch, 2-2. Number 2,000 came in 1973 in San Francisco off Ron Bryant, a left-hander. Eddie out in front, and Gwen has it. That's the first out, and Pete Rose will come up. You go back, Joe Morgan, his last big hit here was number 3,000 in 1978 off Steve Rogers. His monumental historical hits since then have been elsewhere, including the one that equaled Ty Cobb the other day off Reggie Patterson in Chicago. 2-1.
Actually, hit number 3,000 was a line drive down the left field line for his 3,000th hit, and Tony Perez was the first one to greet him at first base. At that time, Tony Perez was playing for the Montreal Expos.
That hit on May 5th, 1978 was off Steve Rogers here at Riverfront. Pete has a walk. And here was the hit in the first inning, the record breaker.
That's a slider low and in, and Pete does what he does so often on the ball breaking down and in. He kind of pushes it off him to left field and lines it over shortstop.
And Marge Schott, the majority owner, of course, was out hurriedly to congratulate Pete Rose. Dave Parker trying to drop one in. He does. Pete heading for third. Parker will hold at first, and the Reds have runners at first and third with one out.
Dave hits this ball right off the end of the bat, and it's a blooper. And on a normal turf, I think they would have been able to keep Pete from going to third, but the ball bounces high. Carmelo actually makes a fine play to keep Dave from going to second on the play.
No score. The man at the plate is Nicky Saski. He hit into a force out in the first inning. Ball one. Only one out. At New York tonight in the battle for first place in the East. Top of the fourth. Cardinals, Mets, no score. Dodgers 1-1 in Atlanta. Royster to Templeton. They get the out. And scoring is Pete Rose to make it 1-0 Cincinnati. Esaski safe at first. And Nick has his 49th RBI. Anybody tells you that Templeton doesn't give you the effort, he really gave a fine effort there.
Well, this is a tough play on a shortstop because Dave Parker is known to break up double plays. And actually, he took it a little easy on Templeton because he knew that he couldn't complete the play. But Gary hung in there very well.
Buddy Bell up there with a strike count. Texas has beaten Oakland today 6-3 over in the American League. It's the only major league final. 2 strikes. Rose walks with 1 out, goes to third on the Parker single, and scores as Esaski hits into a force out. One and two. Six RBIs in the last 3 games for Buddy Bell. And he strikes out here in the third inning. 1 run for the Reds on 1 hit, a runner left, and 3 complete. Reds 1, Padres nothing. Reds lead it on an Esaski RBI, 1-0. Another big Red special date coming up here at Riverfront. Everybody in the park's going to walk away with a special souvenir. It's Team Picture Day, sponsored by York Optometrists, and it's coming up this Sunday as the Reds host the Dodgers at 2:15. Everybody in attendance receives a free color picture of the '85 Reds, including Pete Rose. So a chance to add a special item to your current Reds collection or start a new one with this year's team picture. It's this Sunday, Team Picture Day, the Reds and the Dodgers at 2:15, thanks to York Optometrists. Royster leads off. Diaz, after the foul ball, reaches, but he doesn't get it. 1 strike on Royster.
Even though the Padres have gotten good production from Jerry Royster and Tim Flannery, I still think one of the reasons they have not been able to stay out front in the West or repeat as winners in the West is because of the loss of Alan Wiggins.
Rose and Diaz. Oh, what a catch! Look at that! Oh, wow! Oh, he was out of that crouch and over there in a hurry, and that made the play.
One of the things that happens when a guy hits a foul ball, it starts off going away from you, and then it reverses and comes back to the catcher all the time. Watch, he runs over, and this ball actually comes back, and he still makes a great play.
Boy, you talk about some tremendous camera work. What a job by our crew here at Riverfront Stadium. That was just sensational. 1 ball, 1 strike. The hitter is Tony Gwynn. After Royster fouls out. Oster, nice play, 2 down.
Oster, being a tall, short second baseman, does not get into a low crouch like a lot of guys, so he's actually in better position to reach up for a high ball, but not in as good a position on a low ground ball. But he is being tall, he does not crouch nearly as much as your normal second baseman do.
Steve Garvey fouls it away. San Diego with 1 hit and 1 base runner. McReynolds on a very questionable scoring decision in the second inning. 1-1.
sure the Padres will get the scorekeeper off the hook, but it still should not be scored a base hit that early in the ball game.
Well, as long as there's only one, the spotlight shines on that McReynolds ground ball to third in the second inning. Bell backed up on it, threw high to first. Rose unable to tag McReynolds going by. I guess the key in the scorer's thinking would have to be, would he have beaten it out if the throw was good?
Which was not accurate, because if Rose had a chance to swipe at him, that means the throw on target would have beaten him to the bag.
And we'll see when all is said and done tonight just how important that particular play remains. Garvey commits. Diaz will throw him out. A strikeout. Number 5 in that department for Browning. So he has a one-hit shutout through 4 innings, and it's 1-0 Reds. Johnny Bench witnessing history here at Riverfront Stadium tonight. Pete Rose's 4,192nd hit, making him the all-time hit leader, came in the first inning. So it was only appropriate that Bench was here, Tony Perez here, and of course Joe Morgan here.
And I had the best seat in the house. I got to talk about it.
You really go down in baseball lore, getting a chance to truly be a part of the festivities. Dave Concepcion in the 4th, leading off, ball 1. Reds lead it 1-0. Shaw has trouble. Davies got a chance. He's there. And for Eric Shaw, that was just a matter of physics.
Davey checks swing. He tries to get out of the way, try to stop his swing. Shaw can't come up with the short hop, and he chases it. I tell you what, he gave a heck of an effort on this ball. Now they score that an error.
Bo Diaz, the batter. Bo fly to left in the second inning. One strike. After Diaz, it'll be Oster and then Browning. To Royster. That's one on the first, double play.
That's your patented 6-4-3 double play that has stopped many a rally. That is your pitcher's favorite weapon. He hits it a hard, lines one hop to Gary Templeton, who does everything so casually. Gets it over the second and rushes for the first. That's your routine double play.
Ron Oster with an 8-game hitting streak takes a ball. Ron flied to Martinez in left center in the second inning. Pete Jr. ought to just about be ready to go back to school soon.
That was what I was wondering about. Is he ready to go back to school?
He's probably got to do some network shows yet, doesn't he?
An interesting cartoon in the USA Today had a picture of Pete Rose being interviewed, and he says, "I can't stop at 492. Petey Jr.'s right on my heels."
Garvey beats Oster to the bag. An error in the inning, nobody left. We've seen 4 innings tonight, and Rose's big hit. Reds on top 1-0. Pete Rose has big hit, 4-1-9-2, and he has scored the game's only run here tonight. The Reds' September schedule features lots of senior citizen specials, and there's one coming up next week. A week from yesterday, the 17th, the Giants here at 12:35, and veteran Reds fans 65 and over may purchase either box or reserve seats at half price. So make your plans now for all the September senior citizen specials, including Tuesday the 17th, the Reds and Giants at 12:35. How about Wednesday the 11th tomorrow, as it said on the screen? That'll work too. Either way, there are a number, as we mentioned, senior citizen specials. Here's Carmelo Martinez. One strike on Carmelo, who struck out his first at bat. He's in the hole 0-2. So tomorrow, a senior citizen special, and also next Tuesday. So for you veteran fans, a lot of opportunity to pick up on the bargains. Well, Martinez, just like one of those revolving doors at the department store, he struck out twice. You know, talking about veteran fans, we're aware, Joe, of a fan celebrating his 100th birthday, 100 years young, Grover Cleveland Thompson. First pitch to McReynolds, a ball. Grover Cleveland Thompson resides over in Latonia, Kentucky at the Rosedale Manor. Milner will glide in under this one, and that's the second out. And as you can imagine, Grover Cleveland Thompson, celebrating birthday 100 today, goes back to the Cobb era. So he has seen Tyrus Raymond Cobb and Pete Rose. And when pressed tonight to make a comparison between the Georgia Peach and Charlie Hustle, Mr. Thompson did the right thing. He said, couldn't say. Bruce Bochy has himself a hit. Mr. Thompson, happy birthday. Let us hope you see many more great moments in baseball history. And I don't blame you for trying to beg off from saying if Pete's better than Ty or Ty was better than Pete. Let's just say they certainly have been two marvelous players.
I think the best way to talk about it is the way Pete does. You can't compare players from different eras. First of all, they played with a different style of baseball when Ty Cobb played. They did not have relief specialists, things like that. They played only day baseball. There were a lot of things that are different. But the balls are a lot harder now, and they travel faster. Just a lot of things that are different, so I don't think you can really compare.
The hitter is Kurt Kavakwa. Bell on the force out, and the inning's over. No runs, a hit, a runner left. 4.5 have been played. 1-0 Reds. Reds lead it. 1-0 the score. The run coming in the third inning. Pete Rose's hit coming in the first inning. He hit a 2-1 Eric Schau pitch into left center. Well, who better to teach the art of switch hitting than Pete Rose, one of the all-time greats, the all-time hit leader. And you can learn Pete's lessons through his new cassette tape, Top 6th and Walnut, Cincinnati 45202. Tom Browning takes a strike. He leads off here in the 5th inning. Browning's 0 for 1. Two strikes on the Reds pitcher. One ball, two strikes. Milner is on deck, and we'll get a third look tonight at Pete Rose. Two and two, and a full count now on Browning. It's a gapper. Browning to second base, and he's going to pull up there. A double leading off the 5th. Hey, that's 13 hits for Browning this year, and his second extra base hit.
Not bad for a pitcher.
Hey, make him a pinch hitter, make him a backup outfielder. Get him out there.
He could do that in this league, but if he had a designated hitter, he couldn't get 13 hits.
You're right there.
Looked like he knew what he was doing.
And on a cool night, he dons the jacket. Well, Eddie Milner will try and move him up. Ball one. Shaw working 1-0. That'll get him up. McReynolds, the grab, the first out, and Browning advances to third.
I think the biggest problem Pete will have for the rest of the season, as far as I'm concerned, will be the letdown that follows something as spectacular as this 4,192nd base hit. I think he's going to have to really get more inspired. His team's going to have to play better and stay in the race in order to keep him hyped up.
Infield pulls in, 1 out, ball one.
But if anyone can keep themselves at a high pitch for the remainder of the season, I'd have to choose Pete Rose.
Pete got the record-breaking hit in the first inning. He walked and scored the game's only run in the third. 2-0. Andy's at bat here in the fifth with Browning at third, 1 out.
Well, the question is, does the manager let the hitter hit 3-0 here?
He does not let him hit 3-0. 3-1. From the Padre bullpen. That's why play is stopped. Gene Walter, the left-hander, youngster, just called up. 3-2 on Pete. At third, 1 down. Pete got a fastball right down Broadway, and the count remains full. There's enough noise here at Riverfront tonight to last forever. Browning will tag.
I don't think he can score from there.
Martinez will just fire it home, and Browning wisely staying at third. 2 outs. So Pete 1 for 2. The weight is off his shoulders. He's achieved his most crowning moment in baseball. Hit number 4,192 back in the first inning. Now he'd like his club to get a few extra runs. They lead 1-0 in the fifth inning. And you know, Dick Williams, who's been around baseball so many years, winning a lot of ball games, a successful manager, had to be thrilled to see Pete's hit in the first inning.
I think Dick Williams is one of the real good managers in baseball today.
Ball one on Parker.
And he has some interesting quotes. And when he did a couple of things unorthodoxly early in the season, someone says, "You didn't follow the book." He says, "I don't manage by the book because I didn't meet the guy that wrote the book."
Nice play by Bochy, 2-0.
Meaning because it worked years ago does not mean it's the proper thing to do with modern baseball players. So I respect him for that, because you find too many managers that do manage by what is known as the book, the standard way of managing since like around 1920.
Now they're going to walk Parker with 2 outs and pitch to Esaski.
See here again, this is Dick Williams not managing by the book. You would usually walk Parker if the man was on second base, but not normally with a man on third base, so you have a runner on first and third. Very few managers will do that. I personally think it's a good play, because I think you'd rather face Nick Esaski in this situation than Dave Parker, who's leading the league in runs batted in.
Esaski has an RBI tonight and has 49. First and third, 2 outs. Again for everyone on the Reds television network, our special show, the greatest hit of all time, will follow tonight's game telecast. The ceremonies and celebration on the field will be witnessed, and you'll be part of it on the greatest hit of all time. 1-1. Reds a run, 4 hits, no errors. San Diego no runs, 2 hits and 1 error. Broken bat, 1 hopper, and Templeton takes what could have been a tricky play and handles it like a good shortstop. He makes it easy, and it's 1-0 Reds. Eric Shaw leads off inning 6, swinging and missing at the first pitch, 1 strike. Shaw, Templeton, Royster for San Diego against Tom Browning. 2 strikes. One and 2. Shaw struck out his first at bat. Browning has struck out at least 1 in every inning, and he has 6 strikeouts in all. 2 and 2. It remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Templeton, the big game last night, is on deck. He had 4 hits and what proved to be the big RBI. 3-2, San Diego won last night after the Reds won it in the 9th on Monday night, 2-1. Bell smoothly makes the play, and Rose able to hold on. 1 away. Templeton coming up to the plate, but well, he's one of the better defensively also. Watch this play that ended the 5th inning.
Nick gets jammed, and that's the worst ball to be hit to a shortstop. The guy that jams himself, and you don't know whether it's coming hard or soft, and Gary charges, gets it on a good hop, forces Dave Parker at second.
Gary's 0 for 2 tonight, 1 strike. They're playing 2 in Houston, the Giants and the Astros. First game in the 7th inning, Giants 9, Astros 1. Very apt to be a managerial change down there in Houston. 2 strikes on Templeton.
Probably in San Francisco as well.
Yeah, might also be a general manager change down in Houston also.
And in San Francisco as well.
Yeah. 1-0, Reds lead this game. Be long, we'll be getting those announcements of new managers, new general managers, and some of baseball's franchises.
I believe that's true. Shortly.
Esaski grabs Templeton's fly, and they're 2 away. And of course, there are only a few good men out there for those jobs.
I will probably agree to that. I think that's one of the problems that both of those teams have had. Maybe they didn't have the right guys in the right situations. But you never can tell.
No,
sometimes it's the player's fault.
Yeah, most of the time.
Right.
Can't do it without the horses, can you?
No.
Jerry Royster, he's 0 for 2, 1 ball to count.
Truthfully, I think the Giants had a good manager in Frank Robinson. Things didn't work out. And here again, I think the Astros had a good manager in Bob Lillis, because I learned a lot of my baseball from Bob Lillis when I first came to the big leagues.
2 balls, no strikes on Royster. Well, there's talk that Al Rosen will leave Houston and that Lillis will be cashiered. Pete backing up. This is Oster's ball. And Browning has another magnificent inning. Through 6 innings, Browning working on a 2-hit shutout. 1-0, Reds lead it here at Riverfront. Well, one of our outstanding cameramen celebrating a birthday today, Denny Vance. What a job they've done for us all season long, as always. And we're looking forward to next year already. Well, Fan Appreciation Day at Riverfront. One of the Reds' best special dates of the year. It's Sunday, September 29th. Reds and Astros at 2:15. And you might win an '86 Ford Escort from Fuller Ford, a dream vacation on American Airlines, an Admiral refrigerator or freezer, a Sony TV or more. Be here with us at Riverfront. The Reds' annual Fan Appreciation Day celebration, Sunday, September 29th against the Astros at 2:15. Postcard entries will be accepted. First pitch is a strike to Buddy Bell. He's 0 for 2. St. Louis at New York, last report, no score in the 5th inning. The Mets lead the Cards by a game in the East. 1-1. Philadelphia at home, leading Montreal 2-0 in the 4th. Chicago at Pittsburgh, no score in the 5th. Atlanta at home, leading the Dodgers 1-0 in the 3rd. Levac was throw in time. Bell is gone.
Kurt Bavacqua, being a good utility player, plays third base, first base, and a little outfield. Takes his time, makes a pretty accurate throw. Steve Garvey does that as well as anyone. Dig balls out of the dirt.
Here's Dave Concepcion. Ball 1. Davey has a single, also safe on an error.
I did my Howard Cosell impression today and found out some behind-the-scenes things that are going on in the American League race over there. The New York Yankees had a deal signed and sealed to bring Tom Seaver back to New York today. The last minute, it was declined by the Yankees for 2 young minor league pitchers.
Nixed it.
I mentioned that because Tom played here in Cincinnati a few years ago.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Concepcion. I'd let you mention it just on the basis that he's a great pitcher.
Right.
And won 300 games. But the fact he wore a Reds uniform, even better. Bo Diaz on deck.
But I kind of wonder why they didn't try to do that before the September 1st deadline, because he wouldn't be able to play in the playoffs or World Series if they got in there anyway.
Sure, that strikes you immediately when you hear that potential deal.
Right.
How about Don Sutton finally going to the Angels, and he's not eligible for postseason play?
I know, those are a little strange to me. That's a little strange in the fact that he wanted to go there last year and the A's wouldn't let him.
Royster gets Concepcion 2 up and 2 away. I'm sure that salary has something to do with that.
Well, the funny thing about the Sutton deal, he said he didn't want to play for the A's, and they forced him to play. Now they trade him just before, the season's over. That's kind of unusual. You're right, but they didn't want to pick up his salary for next year. But the Yankees, I know why they wanted Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver is New York to New York people, and he got his 300th win there not too long ago. So kind of interesting things going on behind the scenes when teams are actually trying to win divisional titles.
Bo Diaz, 1 ball, 1 strike. The Reds catcher 0 for 2 tonight.
And it kind of follows in the mold of Gene Autry and Steinbrenner's teams, always doing that.
Vic Reynolds giving chase. He won't get this one. And Diaz will have a double.
watched McReynolds for 2 days now, and he does not get a good jump on the ball. As you see here, he's not really going after the ball the way you see on Eddie Milner or Gary Reedus or Gary Maddox go after it. He just does not get as good a jump on the ball as some of the other center fielders in this league, as noted last night when he hit the pop-up that Dave Parker hit, fell in for a double.
Reds are going to see Oster walked by Shao. We're on with an 8-game streak and 0 for 2 tonight. That'll put runners at first and second with 2 outs and Browning coming up. What else you hear from over the inferior circuit?
Well, you know, I was looking at some of the quotes that George Brett made about the fact that the Yankees had the California Angels had beaten the Royals the day before. And they came back and won last night. He said, no contest. He figures the Royals are going to run away with it. Sure, the Angels don't feel that way, but I'd have to give Gene Mauch a pat on the back for keeping the Angels in the race this long anyway.
Browning, walloped to double his last at bat. He's 1 for 2. 2 on, 2 outs. Ball 1. People that I've talked to in the last week or so in the American League. There's Walter warming up in the bullpen again, the young left-hander. Galen Cisco will come out, the San Diego pitching coach. The people have told me that almost to a man they think Kansas City is going to end up first in the West. And a lot of them have said from watching both Toronto and the Yankees, they have the sense that Billy Martin is going to be able to whip his club across the finish line first.
I would have to agree with the Kansas City team because they have outstanding pitching. In fact, the guy Charlie Leibrandt, who pitched for the Reds briefly, won a ball game last night, his 3rd shutout of the season, and they've got Saberhagen,
Mark Gubazov.
Yeah, and Don Jackson. They've got some very fine pitchers there, so I think they will win as well. And they got some good hitting, and Hal McRae, who was also a former Red, has come back and done a great job as a designated hitter.
Ball 1, the count on Browning. Shao has it. That retires the side. The Reds no runs a hit. They lead 2. 6 innings have been played. Pete Rose has successfully achieved the monumental moment. It's 1-0 Cincinnati. The fans jubilant at Riverfront Stadium tonight. Reds with a lead 1-0. Pete Rose picked up hit number 4,192 in the first inning against Eric Shao. Oh, what a moment it was. We'll, of course, see it again. We'll have all the post-game festivities for you. That's coming up, so stay with us.
I bet you may see that 4,192 times before his career is over.
That'll be replayed a few times. Tony Gwynn takes a ball from Tom Browning. Gwynn has rolled out and lined out. Garvey and Martinez will follow 2-0. 2 balls, a strike. The Padres coming into this game losing 3 of 4, 8 of their last 11. There's a base hit. Boyd has reached up and socked it. 3rd hit for San Diego.
The more I see of Tony Gwynn, the more I realize that he's actually a real good high ball hitter. Most left-handed hitters are not good high ball hitters, but he is. He seems to take the high ball and go the other way with it.
Now will face Steve Garvey. Not to be a name dropper, but I will anyway. Steve has a celebrity tennis tournament out in the LA area. The Michelob Light Steve Garvey Celebrity Tennis Tournament coming up on November 2nd. Parker is going to grab this one, and Garvey is up. And I am fortunate enough to be handling the announcing of that television show of that event with Steve Garvey. Looking forward to that for the Michelob Light folks in November. That'll probably be seen in maybe Blythe, California.
Well, not to drop any names, but Johnny Bench is coming to play in the 4th annual Joe Morgan Celebrity Invitational, October 25th at Blackhawk Country Club in Oakland, California.
Here's Martinez, but I'm not interested in that because you haven't gotten it on TV and you don't have me announcing it.
And Garvey's playing in my golf tournament. Johnny Bench, Mike Schmidt.
1 ball, 1 one strike on Martinez. Gwynn is at first with one out. 7th inning, 1-0 Reds, and in the bullpen, John Franco. You let me know when you get that on TV, and I'll be there.
It's on TV in Oakland.
2-1. Browning working on a 3-hit shutout, 7th inning. He has struck out Martinez twice tonight. Gwynn goes. Diaz's throw, not in time.
That was a nice play by Ronnie Oster, the second baseman. He made a nice catch and swipe tag at Tony Gwynn. Throw is down low. Bo Diaz gets rid of the ball quickly. Nice play, but he did not get him. He hits him on the knee, actually, and his foot is in there.
12th steal of the year for Gwynn, and he is the potential tying run for San Diego. So as you'd say, Joe, that's an important steal.
That's very important. That's the type that means something.
3-2.
Anytime you can steal a base and get yourself in a scoring position in a close ball game, those are the base stealers that I admire.
Milner trying to catch up with it. Oh, what a play. And Gwynn, who had to play it halfway, goes back to second. And Milner obviously dazed and I think worried about his leg.
That is a great play.
Milner. Oh, let's hope he's not seriously hurt. Larry Starr, the trainer, is racing out. Oh, what a catch.
This seems to be grabbing his right knee. It probably bumped the wall after he made the catch. See how Milner goes after the ball, doesn't take his eye off the ball, running full speed, reaches up, makes a great catch. Now his right knee hits the wall. Unlike Kevin McReynolds last inning, he's running full speed after the ball all the way. He wants to make the catch, and he does.
And he says he'll be all right. That's good news. Saves a run in a 1-0 ball game. Reds. And the crowd chanting, Eddie, Eddie. When at second, 2 down. Kevin McReynolds, the hitter. Ball 1. The Reds coming into play trailing the Western Division leading Dodgers by 9.5 games. And the Dodgers lead in Atlanta 11-1 in the 4th inning. Eddie's got to go get another one. And the key, get there first, and he does it beautifully. After 6.5, 1-0 Reds. Eddie Milner, on the heels of a marvelous catch, will lead off the inning. Here's the catch. Eddie is a hitter tonight, 0 for 3. Foul ball. Of course, that catch saved a run with the Reds leading 1-0.
Watching him make that play reminds me of a statement they made about Willie Mays once. They said 2/3 of the earth is covered by water, the other 1/3 by Willie Mays. And I think Eddie Milner one of these days will be thought of in those terms because he is a fine outfielder.
1 ball, 1 strike. If you joined us late, the Reds' run came in the 3rd. It was scored by Pete Rose. 1-2. Pete, in the 1st inning, with the bases empty and a 2-ball, 1-strike count, singled to left center off Eric Schau for hit 4,192. Gary Templeton to Garvey. That's one out, and it will bring up Pete. Reminder now, stay with us after the game for a special show. The greatest hit of all time, a celebration of Pete Rose becoming baseball's all-time hit leader. We'll have it for you here. We'll have all the festivities. Be sure to stay with us. Since his historic single in the first, has walked and scored and flied to left. 1-2. Still a ball, 2 strikes. Biggest fans was out here cheering for him tonight. Jeff Ruby, the proprietor at the precinct, and we enjoyed the hospitality there last night. Had a fine dinner at the precinct,
prepared by Chef John.
That's right. Down the line, fair ball. Pete Rose has another hit, number 4,193, and it is a triple.
This is truly Pete Rose's night, and he continues it with this triple down the left field line. Still runs pretty good. Now Dave Parker's not too happy. They're going to walk him again.
Parker, with this walk, will have walked 3 times, twice intentionally, and he has a hit. 1 out. There'll be runners at first and third. Action begins in the San Diego bullpen. Eric Shaw in trouble, and veteran Roy Lee Jackson working in the pen behind him. Nicky Saski, in a similar situation in the third inning, hit into a force out to drive Pete in from third with the game's only tally. Here's a fly ball that'll get him in. Rose will tag. McReynolds the catch. That's the second out, and Pete will make it 2-0. He scored both runs. And Nick Saski has the game's 2 RBIs, and he has 50 on the year. Shaw, the woman in the middle with her arms folded, Eric Shaw's wife.
She doesn't look too happy.
No, it's not exactly Eric's night. Eric Shaw's wife sitting with Lamar Hoyt's wife. Lamar got out unscathed last night, but not Eric Shaw. He's the man who allowed Pete Rose's record-breaking hit. 1 strike the count. Bell the hitter. Parker at first with 2 outs. 2-0. Cincinnati in the 7th inning. passes Parker to third. Dell goes into second base, and with 2 outs, 2 more in scoring position. And that would figure to just about be it for Eric Shaw.
Buddy takes the fastball low and in and drives it down the left field line. This is what we've talked about since he's come to the Reds. He has not turned on the ball inside very well. He's gotten jammed a lot, but now he's starting to turn on the ball. The ball he hit for the home run last night was a fastball inside, and he got the bat out front. I think he's going to have to do that consistently to hit in the National League, because they will continue to challenge him inside.
Now Bochy will go to the mound. Dick Williams is waiting for the sign that Roy Lee Jackson is ready, and he hasn't received it yet.
Roy Lee started a little late this inning to warm up, and I don't think he's quite ready yet. But I believe he's going to have to come in and finish his warm-up on the mound.
He's going to have to get ready in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, because I think he's going to take him out.
He's about ready to call time again here, I would think.
Maybe Roy Lee doesn't want to come in this situation. What do you think? Because he's taking his time.
He's looking down there, and he's not getting the word that Jackson's ready.
Jackson says, I don't want to come in right now.
Look at this. He's still looking. When are you going to be ready? I want you. 2-0, and I think that's got to be it, doesn't it?
No, I think if he lets him start to this hitter, he's going to let him finish. There's some hitters don't want to hit with the winning run on base. Maybe some pitchers don't want to pitch with the winning run on base or go in the tough situations.
2-0. Down the line, and Gwen there to grab it, and Shaw is able to survive. Reds get a run. Rose scores it on 2 hits. Pete has scored both runs tonight. Reds lead 2-0. Hard shot, signing autographs on a night that certainly is most memorable for her. Reds lead 2-0. Pete Rose has 2 hits, 2 of the 7. And Tom Browning working on a 3-hit shutout going to the 8th inning. Bruce Bochy, Kurt Bavacqua, and then a pinch hitter for San Diego. One strike on Bochy. His single came in the 5th inning. Max Venable has taken over in left field, replacing Nick Isaski. Isaski in this contest driving in both Reds runs. Two strikes. And Parker in right field. Out number 1. Parker ran to third in the bottom of the 7th inning. He had some fun here, Joe. Watch this.
Yeah. Maybe he thinks he's going to back him on plate.
The old story, they can't tell if I'm coming or going. Kurt Bavacqua, one-time Major League Baseball bubblegum blowing champion, takes a ball.
Ken, since this may be our last telecast this season, I want to take this time and say to a good friend of mine, Joe Geiger, who's head of AIM for the handicap in Dayton, Ohio, to have a speedy recovery. She's been recuperating the last couple of months from illness, but she's doing well now.
There's a base hit for Bavacqua with 1 out here in the 8th inning.
She's a very lovely lady that works very hard with handicapped kids there in Dayton, Ohio, and I think it's great. Nancy Lopez, Joe Morgan are national ambassadors along with Billie Jean King for the group, and I think it's great that she's able to get back to the office and work with the kids. So good luck to you, Joe, and I'll see you next year.
Reds lead 2-0. And a pinch hitter here, Jerry Davis, pinch hitting for Eric Shaw, who goes 7 innings, allows 2 runs, 7 hits, walks 5, strikes out 1. 1 strike on Davis. 6 strikeouts tonight for Browning. He has not had one since the 5th inning. Still 0-2. It has been quite a night. September the 11th, 1985 at Riverfront Stadium. The greatest hit of all time occurring in the 1st inning. And in fact, it's really been a marvelous season and will continue to be for the Cincinnati Reds. What a year it's been. Could be 2. Over to Oster. On to Rose. A double play. The game goes to the bottom of the 8th. Rose has 2 hits. The Reds lead 2-0. Lead it 2-0. Rose scored in the 3rd. Rose scored in the 7th. Browning has been marvelous on the mound. Now a new San Diego pitcher, veteran Roy Lee Jackson, with experience with the New York Mets and Toronto Blue Jays. So Jackson picks up for Shaw and will work against the Reds in the 8th. San Diego in the 9th will have the top of the order: Templeton, Royster, and Gwynn. Jackson. 2-3, 2 saves, and a 3.31 ERA, appearing for the 17th time. Bo Diaz, a double for 3. Then Ron Oster. Ball 1. Some of the folks from this standing room only crowd have gone home, but most are still here to see the post-game festivities. 1-1. And I'm sure that those that have gone home will be with us, if they're not with us already, watching the excitement after the game here on television. Two balls, a strike. Appreciate all your support for our Reds telecasts here in 1985. Diaz walks, leading off the 8th inning. And of course, the telecast would not be possible without the support of wonderful sponsors. Gary Reedus is going to pinch run at first base. Our network sponsors: Anheuser-Busch, Bud, Busch Beer, Toyota, Long John Silver's Seafood Shops. And on the local level, all the sponsors in the various markets who make it possible for you to watch the Reds in Major League Baseball. Important games like this one. Ball 1 to Oster. Worried about Reedus, and well they should.
That was a weak pitch out.
Yeah, that was. 43 steals this year for Gary Reedus.
Anytime you're going to have a pitch out, the pitcher's supposed to throw the ball just as hard as he does on his normal delivery. He just lobbed the ball to the plate.
Well, Roy Lee Jackson was supposed to come in and pitch to Concepcion to end last inning, but didn't want to really make his way. Reedus goes, the pitch, a ball, Bochy's throw, not in time. Now they get him. He's out, and Fred Brocklander looks him right in the eye to tell him. Templeton did another nice job staying with Reedus to get out number 1.
Gary gets an excellent jump here, and it's actually a good throw. I'm not sure his hand is off the bag.
What did he do? Hit him on the helmet with a glove? Shoulder?
Yeah, but I'm not sure his hand was off the bag. I thought he might have gotten him as he went by originally on the slide here. Let's see. That's where I thought he was out.
Got him on the shoulder. with his hand off the bag, according to Fred Brocklander. 2-1 on Oster. Let's see this tag again.
Let's see here. All right, he calls him safe there. I can't see how he can call him out. It looks like his hand's on the bag when he tags him.
3-1 now on Ron Oster. I would agree, Joe, that it looked like Reedus' hand was off for a moment, but back on when the second tag attempt was
exactly
made.
His hand obviously came off the bag, but it was back on before he tagged him.
We must also say that Fred Brocklander was pretty close to it.
He was right on top of the play. All right, let's see.
Now he says safe there.
Now his hand comes off. Now it's back on. I don't know.
There's a base hit. Ron Oster has a 9-game hitting streak. That's 8 hits for the Reds tonight. There's a left-hander in the bullpen as Dick Williams comes out, and it is Gene Walter, the rookie who was up earlier. Browning, the pitcher, is due.
I think something is wrong with Roy Lee Jackson by the way that Dick Williams is coming out. Something's bothering him. He seems to be in a little discomfort there. Yeah. Maybe that's why it was taking him so long to warm up in the bullpen. Something is obviously bothering him.
8th inning, Reds lead 2-0. Back at Riverfront in just a moment. So after the top of the 9th, we're not just leaving, we're coming back to okay, gotcha.
All right, we got to have somebody on the
Ken Wilson with Joe Morgan at Riverfront Stadium, where tonight the Reds lead the Padres 2-0. Fans, make your plans now to be at Riverfront for a big Reds weekend. Coming up this weekend, the 13th through the 15th, it's the Reds and the Dodgers. Friday's matchup is a 6:05 doubleheader. Saturday's game is slated for 7:05. And this Sunday, the 15th, is Team Picture Day, sponsored by York Optometrists, when everybody receives a free color picture of the Reds. Those Reds weekend dates again, Friday the 13th through Sunday the 15th, the Dodgers in town. The new pitcher is 24-year-old Gene Walter, who had never been in the big leagues before the other day. He is a Chicago native. And there you see the statistical story. He's coming into his 10th game with San Diego. 1 strike on Browning. There's a ball, 1-1. We mentioned last night that the Phil Donahue show will be taped at Riverfront Coliseum here in Cincinnati tomorrow morning, and we are happy to report that all tickets have been dispersed for that show, and it should be an exciting show with Pete Rose. 1 and 2 on Browning. And many of these same stations will air the Phil Donahue show with Pete Rose on Friday. if you are interested in tickets for the Donahue Show tomorrow here in Cincinnati and you don't have them at this time, they have all been dispersed. One out. Oster at first, 8th. And Browning is down on strikes, trying to bunt with 2 strikes. He bunts foul. Reds lead it 2-0. For 4 with a superb defensive play that saved a run. Ball 1-1. Strikes on Eddie Milner. Pete Rose, of course, with 2 hits, a walk, 2 runs scored, going 2 for 3, is on deck. And Milner strikes out. Walter comes on and strikes out the 2 Reds he faces. The game goes to the top of the 9th. Templeton, Royster, and Gwynn. Reds lead 2-0. 2-0. Reds lead it. 3 outs away from victory number 72. Tom Browning, looking for his 5th shutout of the year, faces Gary Templeton and buries a strike to start the 9th.
Due to all the excitement about Pete Rose, I think people are not really realizing how great a ball game that Tom Browning is pitching tonight. He's been in command from the first pitch of the ball game.
He's looking for 16th victory of the year and 7th complete game of the year. And he is ahead of Templeton, 2 strikes. After Templeton, Jerry Royster and Tony Gwynn. One and 2. Pete Rose did it in the first inning tonight with 1 out. On a 2-1 pitch, he singled off Eric Shaw to left center. Templeton thrown out by Oster, 1 out in the 9th. And be sure to stay with us after our game telecast for our special show covering all the post-game festivities on the field. The greatest hit of all time. It's coming up on these stations along the Reds television network. Jerry Royster. How long do you think it'll take us to get downstairs, Joe?
2 days.
2 days.
They've got about 90,000 riders up here, and it only has 1 elevator to get us all down.
2 balls, 1 strike. 1 out, top of the 9th. Browning, Rose, and the Reds leading 2-0. In
fact, I think I'll leave now and get down there.
2 and 2. 2, a big number. Reds winning 2-0. Pete Rose, 2 hits. 3 and 2. And Nicky Saski, 2 RBIs. There's a base hit for Royster, his first of the night, and the 5th hit for San Diego. 5 different hitters with singles. That has been it. The Padres have failed to get more than 1 man on in any inning tonight. They got Gwynn, the man coming up, to second base in the 7th inning. After a single, he stole second, and that has been it. And Franco is ready in the pen. And with Gwynn coming up, that'll be it for Tom Browning. What an outstanding outing for this 25-year-old rookie from Casper, Wyoming. 2-0. Reds lead in the 9th. Back after this timeout. The San Diego Padres here in the 9th with 1 out, bringing the potential tying run to the plate. Tony Gwynn and John Franco comes on in relief. It has been a super year for Franco. We saw John last night. He pitched an inning and 2/3 of 1-hit shutout ball. We saw him here Monday night, and he got the victory. Franco with a marvelous record on the year, 12-2, and in 55 previous outings, an ERA of 1.84. He has been something, trying to complete his 30th game of the year.
If it's as they say, you learn something from every manager you play for, I think Pete Rose learned this from Sparky Anderson, Captain Hook.
Milner charging in. He's got it. What a play. Eddie Milner makes a superb play for the 2nd out and his 2nd jam of the night. Pete Rose, who's going to manage like a Hall of Fame manager here, with Steve Garvey coming up, is going to go to Ted Power in the bullpen. Franco goes to 3rd, and Power will be in position to pick up a save.
As Sparky Anderson used to say, you don't ever let a young kid pitch a great ball game and lose or get in real trouble in the 9th inning. And as soon as the guy got the base hit, Jerry Roster got the base hit with 1 out in the 9th, he brought on John Franco to get him out of the jam.
The Reds making a pitching change. We are going to take a break. We're in the 9th. The Reds need 1 more out to wrap things up, and Ted Power comes in. On this momentous occasion, Steve Garvey stands in the way of a Reds victory. Royster at first with 2 outs. Garvey the hitter, Power on the mound, trying to notch his 20th save of the year. Reds lead 2-0. And that could be it if the park will hold it. And whose gloves it going to go into? Not Pete Rose's. Oh, what a fitting ending that would have been. Rose with 2 hits. Rose has scored both runs, and he could have grabbed it to end it all. 1 strike on Garvey. He'll be in Hollywood one day writing scripts. Pete Rose, producer, director, writer. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The one thing Ted Power wants to do here is stay away from Steve Garvey's power, which is basically up and in the middle of the plate. So he'll try to stay on the outside part of the plate and down.
Unbelievable. Pete Rose has just had an incredible ball game. The final, the Reds 2, the Padres no score. We'll be back in just a moment. Pete Rose and the Reds 2. The Padres no score. Tom Browning wins his 16th. Ted Power earns save number 20. Ken Wilson along with Joe Morgan back at Riverfront. Quite a night to think about, isn't it?
Well, it was Pete Rose's night, and he took advantage of it. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Not only did he score the only 2 runs, got the hits that we wanted him to get, but he made a great defensive play to end the ball game. That is what Pete Rose is all about.
And everybody came tonight to see hit number 4,192 to make him the all-time hit leader. They saw it. It was the first inning, and I guess momentum now beginning to roll a little bit because we're about ready to head down for some ceremonies.
Well, I think this will be great. I'm just happy to be a part of this. This is a magnificent situation for me, especially this is our last telecast of the year. This is the way to go out.
Well, we've had some fun this year. It's been a great year. Steve Fisiak has been with us. Joe and I ready to head downstairs for our show coming up, the greatest hit of all time. Be sure to stay tuned for that. And let's go now downstairs to Steve Fisiak.
All right, they're calling it the greatest hit of all time, and indeed it was tonight. Hit number 4192 for Pete Rose, and we have his lovely wife, Carol Rose, here. And I know, Carol, when he had it, you had to have tears streaming down your face.
I sure did. I was very emotional, not for just, you know, myself and everything. It was just looking at all the fans and seeing Pete himself emotional. It was just really wonderful to see, and I think he was emotional because he kind of got his wish of getting it here in Cincinnati.
Well, we've got little Ty Cobb who wants part of the microphone. He's a little like his dad, Pete Rose, who likes the microphone.
He sure does. He's been grabbing at him, that's for sure.
And what a way to end it. A backhanded stab toss to the pitcher covering.
I know. He knows how to do it, doesn't he?
Yes, indeed he does. What a special moment was. Was it a rare occasion? I know you've seen Pete cry tonight at first base, and I understand he was thinking of his father.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure his father's watching around here somewhere. He's not missing a bit of it.
Congratulations to you and your great husband.
Very much.
Carol Rose of the Cincinnati Reds and her husband Pete Rose with that fabulous hit tonight, 4-1-9-1. And so many times tonight he said that when he was standing on first base after that pitch that he hit to left field for the historic base hit, he indeed was going to make history. Well, tonight's game was brought to you by Busch Beer. The beer with a taste as smooth as its name. And by Toyota's exciting cars and trucks for 1985. Toyota invites you to see them at your Toyota dealer. Oh, what a feeling. And by Long John Silver's Seafood Shops, now featuring new Ocean Chef salad. Once again tonight, the Cincinnati Reds, behind Pete Rose, 2 base hits, 4,192 and 4,193, beat San Diego 2-0.